Welcome back to another power packed conversation on healthy mind, healthy life. I'm your host Yusuf, and today we are stepping straight into the trenches where entrepreneurship meets mental health. Real talk, no fluff, just two humans unpacking what really happens behind the glossy founder narrative. Joining me is someone who lives at that intersection of big vision and big responsibility. Barry is the CTO and creator of podhome.fm, one of the most modern podcast hosting platforms out there. This man literally built the platform from scratch, like full on zero to SaaS, and he did it while navigating the chaos that every founder knows too well. Scaling a product, keeping customers happy, putting out fires, trying not to burn out in that process, and whatnot. So, yeah, today we are going deep into burnout recovery, entrepreneurship stamina, creator capacity, and the surprising ways podcasts can actually help us learn, regulate, and stay sane. Barry, I welcome you to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
It is our pleasure. Barry, building a SaaS from scratch sounds exciting on LinkedIn, but wild in real life. What did burnout look for you at your lowest point?
Ooh, um, at my lowest point, well, I was burned out before I actually started with this SaaS product. I had a full-on burnout, and it kind of started with, I did not have any creativity or motivation anymore. Uh, didn't really want to get out of bed. Uh, physically, I felt very weak and weird, and like I wanted to cry all the time. Just very strange feeling. Um, yeah, that was kind of my lowest point where I just was unable to do anything. I was just paralyzed, basically. Paralyzed and depressed, I would say. Yeah.
And may I ask, what was the earliest signal that you ignored that now makes you think, wow, like that was the moment that I should have slowed down?
The earliest signal, that's a good question. Well, I think the earliest signal was that my sleep was getting very bad. As in, I would wake up still tired. And I thought, you know what, this is just how it goes because I'm busy. I do long days. I travel a lot. It's just, that's how my life is. Of course, I'm tired. But looking back, that should not be the case. I was young, younger than now, and I should just be recovered when I come out of bed. But I would just wake up more and more tired. And there was definitely a signal that burnout was getting closer.
And let's just say one of our listeners is in that particular situation. How can they come out of that situation?
So the first thing I would, if I take a step back, what I was missing is listening to my body and to myself. So I was so busy with being busy, basically, meeting after thing after, you know, trying to get money, get those customers, get all that stuff. But in the meantime, I was just not listening to that. I was actually exhausted and I was just draining my body of all of my energy. So and I know it's difficult. You can't listen to your body when you when you're in that mode. But when you hit that wall and you get to the burnout, so the way to get out of it, that depends on the person. But I would say in general, the way to get out of it is to change your situation because the things that you are doing are causing uh, the burnout, so the symptoms. And in my case, that was twofold. So I was in a relationship I should not have been in and I think burnout was kind of a mirror to show me, all right, now enough now, stop, look at what you're doing, look at your life. Um, and I was also not doing the things that I loved in the process. So I was doing busy work whilst I should have just said no to a lot more things. I've learned to do that now. I say no to most things and only yes to things that I like. Oh, that sounds like a very privileged position because obviously you need to do things that you don't like often. But still, there are many things you can say no to, like in your personal life or stuff like that, and you're not going to miss out. It's fine. And then, kind of the third and very important thing for me was changing my lifestyle situation, which meant changing what I ate, changing how I slept, changing my, I call it toxic load. Those were very important because the stress that causes burnout is not per se only physiological or psychological, I mean. So that's part of it, but it's also stress that you put on your body. So, for instance, if you eat McDonald's all day, that's a stressor to your body. And that counts. That just adds up to the bucket of stress. And if you then also are very busy and you're worried and in your mind you're racing, that also adds up and that makes the bucket flow over. So all those things, if you don't eat McDonald's anymore, you eat something healthy, you have a lot more room to worry, for instance, in your bucket. So all that type of stuff, all those things combined, but the main thing is to change your life in some significant way. Stop doing the things that you're doing that cause this. And that's difficult to identify what that actually is. But if you can do that, then you can get out of that hole basically and be better for it.
That's so true. If I can build on it, it is like every day we fill that bucket of with work, with our efforts and everything. And when that bucket reaches threshold and starts overflowing, I think that's the sign that you have to stop now.
Yeah.
You have to you have to empty it so that it can fill it again and you can use that bucket again.
Yeah, and that's difficult to recognize when it is there. And if you're very good at it, and later on, maybe you can even recognize when it's half full.
Yeah. Podhome.fm serves creators who expect speed, support, and innovation. That's really heavy. How do you balance customer retention
Yeah.
with your own mental and emotional retention?
Yeah, that is a difficult thing. So podhome.fm is a podcast hosting platform. If you have a podcast, you can upload it there. We process it and then we distribute it to all the platforms. Uh, it's a worldwide platform. It's a SaaS platform, so everybody, people in the US use it, people in the Netherlands use it, people in India use it all over the globe, which means all different time zones as well. Which means in the beginning, when it was just me, I would get support questions day and night, like, "Oh, how does this work?" Or just a question like, "Oh, do you also support this feature or that feature?" I'm considering Podhome. And I wanted to, engage with customers or the potential customers to make sure I didn't miss out on business and also to please everybody because I'm very much a people pleaser. So I would just, stay up late on my phone, emailing people back all day long, and that's not good for for your mental health. I can tell you. Um, yeah, I in the beginning there's no other choice because it was just me. So I just had to do that because I want to deliver stellar customer support. But now I work with a couple of freelancers in different time zones that do the support as well. So that's a thing. So I don't, answer all the emails anymore, which is very good. And also the platform is much more mature where, the user interface just explains itself for the most part, of course. And so we get a lot less uh, customer support requests. So users just ask a lot less. But mostly for me, it also has just been let it go, you know, because customers, uh, at least for myself and people that I speak, is always, wow, that was fast. You replied within an hour or so. I'm used to not getting a reply or getting a reply the next day or something like that. So that's fine too. That's kind of how people, what they expect. So that's fine too. And I had to learn that also. That's also good.
I like the honesty that your answer has within itself. Because most of the time the stories are very flashy, very proud, and they don't tell about this aspect, this mud work that you have to do.
Yeah.
And that is really inspiring for all the entrepreneurs that are listening.
And you gotta just work hard sometimes. It's not all fancy stuff. And also, especially in the beginning, you build something like this and you think, all right, it works like I want it to work. Great. And now you get actual customers and they use it completely differently. So different that you never expected. Why would you click on that? Why you're holding it wrong. You're doing it wrong. But they're not doing it wrong. They're just, doing how they think it works. So, especially that, you have to work through it and be humble enough to say, all right, maybe my idea of how this should work is completely wrong. And let's just build it how the customers actually want to use it. So that's a growth process that I'm still going through. And I think every product creator or SaaS creator is. And in the beginning, also just bugs because, people are using it in unexpected ways. And then things just go wrong because you did not expect it to be used in that way. And that's frustrating. And that hurts my pride because, you make something and then it's like your baby, you put it out into the world. It's like, come people, look at my thing. And then sometimes it doesn't work as expected, but, you know, I had to get over that. But I'm good with it now.
You run a hosting platform. You listen to thousands of ideas every week. What role do podcasts play in your personal learning and health management?
Huge. That's also why I started this platform because uh, when I went through my whole own health journey, as in I had lots of gut problems when I was young, a doctor didn't help me, or they did what they could, but that didn't help me. And then I had to learn on my own. And back then, there wasn't that much available. So, but books and podcasts from early, let's call them influencers that would do things about health. That's, for instance, Abel James is one of those guys that talks about low carb and primal eating, and Mark Sisson is one of those guys. And that whole ecosystem. So I used to listen to those guys and the guests that they had on, and that went. They talked about functional medicine and a holistic approach to health. So and from there, every topic I delved deeper into. Let's call it the podcast sphere, and googling stuff online. And so yeah, I still do that. I still learn from podcasts a lot. And that's also why I like the format a lot. I like it just as audio only. I put my headphones on, not these. These are huge, but AirBuds or something, and then I go do something else and still listen to the podcast whilst I'm walking or driving or working or something. And that's just very nice. So, and it's huge. There's so many shows out there about all sorts of stuff, and there's always something that you can pick up from it, even if it's a topic that I've heard a million times. There's always a different angle, or when something gets repeated for like the third time, I'm like, oh, now I get it. For instance, you don't always get it immediately. Maybe sometimes things just have to be repeated. So, a huge podcast listener, and I try to listen to most things that also come through the platform, but that's impossible. There's so much stuff. So I just pick and choose. Like, hey, that sounds like a an interesting title. Let's see what that is. Yeah.
Because sometimes a single episode hits harder than a whole self-help library.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my personal analogy is that in history, there was a revolution, reading revolution, when everybody had novels and they started reading. This is the time podding. I called it podding. My personal thing is podding. When everyone listens to podcasts, it's a similar kind of thing. If you're reading podcast, if you're listening podcast, or if you're reading a book, both of the situations, someone has packed their life for you to maybe listen, enjoy, and have benefit from it.
Yeah.
And you are a CTO as well. And technical leadership is its own own kind of mental gymnastics. How do you handle the pressure of decision fatigue, constant problem solving, and keeping everything scalable at the same time?
Well, luckily, I like that type of stuff. So I'm kind of like, I like puzzles, and then especially technical puzzles. So when we have a new feature or an idea or something, then I go to work to see if we can design a solution for that that's also scalable, that works for many, many customers in many different countries. That's kind of the fun thing for me, basically. The less fun is let's call it the managerial things. So the actually managing people to do stuff. I don't really enjoy that. Um, but it's part of the other role, and that works. So I lead by example, and from a technical leadership position. So not per se, I am the boss, so do this. No, look what we've created, and look at my idea. I think it's a good idea, so implement that. And usually that works well because on its own merits, the idea then has value, and so because of that, it's an inspiration to the people that actually are going to do it. But for me, mentally, it's not so much a strain because it's kind of fun thing. I like it. It's kind of my hobby. So I'm lucky.
Yeah, because if you do something that you don't love, you have that another strain in your mind, stress in your mind, which you don't have if you start doing something that you love.
Yeah, and I think for many people that do work that they don't love, and that's just the reality of the world. Obviously, you have to do work that you don't love a lot of the time. But if you continue to do that, and if it's something that you really don't like and just does not feed your soul and actually just takes a lot of energy from you, that's going to break you up because then you're not doing what you're meant to do here on earth, and that you're going to be corrected. So the universe is going to tell you, stop and do something else in one way or the other, at least in my experience, for instance, with a burnout or worse, maybe. So listen to your body or to the universe through your body. It's difficult.
Scaling a platform is one identity. Being an actual human with needs, limits, and nervous system is another. How do you integrate both without losing yourself?
Oof. That's a good question. Um, well, I try to be a complete human being, which is very difficult, I find, uh, because so what I try to do is I try to focus on things that I have influence on, and not so much focus on the world outside, as in the news, everything that's happening that I cannot do anything about anyways. So I try to just focus on me and my inner circle, my family, um, and make it super clear for myself what my main mission is. So scaling a business, for instance, that's fun, but that is something that I do to support my main mission. And my main mission is to set my two children successfully in the world, make sure that they have all the lessons that I think they need. They probably don't need them. They can do it by themselves probably just fine. But my main mission is to support them to, be their best selves in the world. That's my main mission. And then scaling a platform is secondary, but that helps with that goal because, I get revenue from that. And also it makes me a happy person to have something that fulfills me. And if I'm happy, that's also good because when I'm an unhappy dad, that's not good for the kids as well. So I try to just focus on my main thing.
And if you could give your earlier founder one self brutally honest piece of advice, what what would it be?
Oh, I think focus more, have more focus, uh, and that in the broadest way. And that sounds very unfocused when I say it, but that means have more of a focus on an audience of who you want to actually serve. So not everybody that's a podcaster in the world, for instance, in this case, but more of a niche. I'm still really looking for that kind of. I think I have it almost, but that's a difficult thing. But I started out way too broad, and that means that traction is low, and onboarding is also low in the beginning, and that could have been a lot better.
And are there any ways that our listeners can connect with you?
Yeah, you can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm sure that will be in the show notes. We can put that in there. Um, I am also on, what am I on? I'm not on a lot of things. I am on X under Azure Berry. And you can go to podhome.fm to find out more about the hosting platform as well. Give it a go. There's also a free podcast player app for iOS and Android where you can just play podcasts totally free. You can use that. Try it out. And yeah, it's kind of it.
Yes. Well, I'm sure that our listeners will connect with you. And before leaving us, do you have any last piece of advice?
Yeah, like I already said, but I just want to repeat that maybe. Try to focus on your circle of influence. Um, so on the things that you can actually do something about. So not about some, I don't know, some news thing that you see on the news from somewhere around the world that might worry you or something. Don't worry about it. You can't do anything about it anyways. Worry about the things that you can do right now and do those things. That's it. Keep it small.
If today's conversation gave you a moment of clarity, a moment of, okay, I'm not the only one, or even a moment of motivation to slow down and breathe, then take it seriously. Entrepreneurship is a marathon disguised as a sprint, and your mind is the fuel. Protect it, nurture it, listen to it. Barry, thanks for pulling back the curtain with honesty and insight. And to everyone listening, keep learning, keep healing, keep building a life where success doesn't cost your soul. Catch you in the next episode. Until then, stay grounded, stay curious, and keep that mind healthy.